Friends, acquaintances, detractors, good time of day to you all. My name is Jonathan Rock, and today a bit of a do-over, a bit of a mulligan. You see, recently I was on the TLD Cast playlist for productivity, and although my session was filled with wisdom and value-added bloviation, I did suffer a spectacular technology failure when it came time to actually sharing my screen and giving visual to the principles I was talking about. It's not finding the video. I guess I'll just share my entire screen. All right. And then I'll maximize this. Can you guys see that all right?
Can't see it.
I know a lot of people in the productivity playlist are and will and did focus on how best to use your time, but one of the things that was my focus was how to be a good steward of your focus. How do you shepherd your mental reserves? Because as we talked about with spoon theory, you can have time at the end of the day, but if you've spent all your spoons, you're done. You're going to waste that time. You're not going to create the things that you want. So my first tip was to change your Outlook to open in calendar mode so that when you begin your day, you're not immediately hijacked by other people's demands on your time. You have time to see what's upcoming, schedule the big things, and then let the smaller stuff fill in around them. So I'm going to show you what that looks like step by step. So in Outlook, we're just going to go over here to File and come down to Options. And once that window loads, you're going to want to scroll over to Advanced and click on that. And now under the second heading, you see Outlook Start and Exit. Start Outlook in this folder. Go ahead and click Browse here and select Calendar and push OK. It's also a good idea to tick this box to empty deleted items folders when exiting Outlook, unless for some reason you use your deleted items folder to store stuff you want to look at later. And what this does is when you start Outlook, it will immediately start in your calendar view. So you'll see your day, your week, your month, whatever view you're most comfortable with. You'll see the things that are coming up that you absolutely need to be there for that day. And it will help you start with a mindset of how am I going to organize the things that I need to capture, the things that I need to create? How am I going to close the door mentally so that I'm not easily interruptible during those deep hauling stuff up from your subconscious and creating it into an e-learning or that kind of thing. How do you schedule those? So that's the tips for that. The second thing that I was going to share, and mind you, this was not the first time that I've been on a TLD cast and had problems with technology. But the second thing that I wanted to show you was how to redeem some of the time that you may spend doing repetitive things. If you're an LMS admin, you may get an email such as this, and you get a list of names of people that all need to be enrolled in the same curriculum or curricula or signed off on training or whatever. And if you recognize every name on this list, then you should have played outside more as a child. Irregardless, you get a list like this, but if we go over to the LMS, you'll notice that it wants to look up person by person. So what you can do is if you change this to any instead of contains, you can look up multiple people at once. And this is SuccessFactors. You may have a different LMS. I want you to be thinking general, how can I use these techniques, not how do I do click by click. But what we want to do is take that string that we got from the email and put it in a way that will allow us to look everything all up at once instead of having to look things up over and over and over. So I'm going to copy these names, and then I'm going to go over to Outlook and paste them in. Here's a little extra tip, no extra charge. If you hover over the line between the column headers and it gets that double arrow and then you double click, it will make all of the columns wide enough to read that's everything that's in there. So while these are selected, let's just go ahead and grab the whole column. You're going to want to go into your data ribbon and select text to columns. We want to leave the delimited radio button checked and hit next. And what we want to do is tick this box next to comma and say finish. And now we see we have 2 different columns with the names that we need. A good practice is to select all of them and then hold down Control and press H. And we're looking for a space, and we're going to replace it with nothing and say replace all. That way that doesn't mess up our search algorithms when they're looking for the spaces. So we're going to grab all of our last names, copy them, and now we're going to go over to Word. Because if I paste this into Word, and then I select the little smart tag and choose Paste as Text, once again, I can select everything and do a Control H. And this is a more advanced find and replace than Outlook has, which is why we're doing the double steps here. But what I want you to type in here is your P. And the caret is the special character above the 6 key on most keyboards. And we're going to replace that with a comma and no space. And then choose Replace All. And after it's done hitting you with the pop-ups, now you see we have all of these last names. We can copy them, and we can go over into the LMS and paste them all in and do one search for everything. I'm not going to hit search here because obviously those people don't exist in this LMS, but you get the idea. So you're like, okay, well, what if there's a ton of people that have the last name Porkins, and I don't want to have to worry about sifting through all of them. Can I do a more refined search? Yeah, you can then grab the first names from your list here, copy it, go back to Word, and if you're like, oh, do I have to do all those steps again? You do not have to do all the steps again. You can create a macro. And I know macros are a gateway drug into JavaScript and programming and all the rest, but to get started, it's really pretty simple. But once you do, you can put a nice little button up here in the top, and when you click it, it will automatically do all the steps that we did, generate your names, and copy them. So that I can go back over into here, change first name to any, paste them in. So I'm not going into all the steps for how to create that macro in this video. There's tons of stuff out there for you to find, but just to be aware, these are the techniques that you can use. Never be satisfied with doing the repetitive stuff over and over again. Always challenge it and find a newer, faster, better way to do it that will not only give you some hours back, give you your focus back, and make your job a little more easy. So those were I shared a lot more stuff because, guys, my brain is humongous, but those were the 2 screen share things that I had queued up to play, and then because my brain is so humongous, couldn't get the tech to work. So hopefully this helps. Let me know, reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns, and have a good time of day or night.